Good morning. Welcome to Unity Orlando. Our opening statement this morning is, I pray with an elevated mind and open heart. Let's all affirm that together. I pray with an elevated mind and open heart. All right, let's all close our eyes and take a nice deep breath in. Let's affirm that together in the silence. And so it is. Now, if you'd like to stand and help us sing our joy song this morning, it's called My Love, Your Love.
Good morning, Unity Orlando. How is everybody today? I see all faces I recognize, so welcome this morning. I'm Susan Francis. I am your platform speaker today. Welcome online as well. Just for those who are at home, if you want the notes from today's lesson, you can download them on the unityorlando.org web page. Go to the services page and tap on the lesson note picture and you can download them. For everyone else, we have those in your hand, those notes. A few reminders, we have still the food drive going on. You can bring non-perishable food items either Sunday morning or Tuesday from 10 to 3. Also, if you like to order from Amazon, we want to remind you that you can help the church by entering through the Amazon link, either through the website the unityorlando.org website, go to the Amazon link, or if you have a Amazon Smile account and you want to change the giving to us, then you can find us under the old name of Unity Church of Christianity. And a small percentage of your order will be donated to the church. So that's very helpful. Also, midweek prayer meditation with Reverend Ronnie and myself, just a reminder, is on Facebook on the first and the third Wednesday of each month at 4:30, and then it's put onto our website and you can replay it anytime. Navigating A Course in Miracles with Reverend Ronnie and Paul Kenny meet on Zoom each Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. If you're interested in attending and have not, just give Ronnie your email and you can find her email address on our website. The Unity Men's Group meets every Wednesday at 4 p.m. at Starbucks on the corner of 436 and Howell Branch Road. And also they meet here on the third Sunday of each month in the Courtyard Classroom. The Soul Group, which met this past Friday, does meet the fourth Friday of each month in Meyer Hall. So there's always some interesting topic or presentation to visit or to see. So join them if you'd like. Also, a reminder that chaplains are here to pray with you, and today we have two of us. So I'm a chaplain, and Bob out there, raise your hand, Bob. He's a chaplain if you need prayer after service. Also, wanted to let you know that Reverend Lulu has a journaling workshop coming up, and it's titled Journaling as a Spiritual Practice. It will be held on November 5th. From 9:45 until 5:15, so a full day of learning how to journal with Reverend Lulu. And there's information on the flyers that will be out on the credenza, and then we'll have this posted on the website too. So that should be good fun. Reverend Bob's lesson this morning is the presence. And before I turn it back over to Brian, I just had a little story to tell you, as always. So every 10 years, the monks in this monastery are allowed to break their vow of silence, to speak 2 words only. So 10 years go by, and it's one monk's first chance. He thinks for a second before saying, "Food bad." 10 years later, it's his turn to speak again, and he says, "Bed hard." And then 10 years later, it's the big day once again, and he gives the head monk a long stare and he says, "I quit." And the head monk says, "I'm not surprised. You've been complaining ever since you got here." Oh. So, anyway, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brian.
Very familiar story. Thank you. Here's a song that we all agreed that had a very mesmerizing riff to it. It kind of reminds me of a Native American kind of feel, but it's called Still Small Voice.
was wonderful. Yes, I enjoyed that very much. Ah, you guys are great. You always are. Thank you. Ah, everybody's here. Neither rain nor sleet nor accidents can keep you away from unity. How wonderful. Good to have you all here. And all of you at home, good to have you with us. It's going to be a big weekend ahead. No, a big week ahead. We just finished the weekend. And there's going to be a hurricane hit somewhere. So stay safe. We wish for all of you at home, wherever you are, all of you here, that you be protected. Oh, I do want to call your attention to what's going on with this church repair fund that we got going, a month ago, 2 months? Anyway, it's been a few weeks now. You know, we've been going at this. We discovered that over the last couple of years, with everybody pretty much at home and only a few of you coming back, though, you know, we're gaining now, that the church kind of got ignored. So we had lots of things that need repair right now, or at least a number of them. And one of them was very obvious, even to you people at home, because we needed a new soundboard. It was really acting up on us there for a while. And so we made this entire list, and we thought, okay, we're going to let you know it's time to do things around the church for the repair fund. So here's the report on how things are going. Number one, what do we need to do? We need a new soundboard. We needed 3 dead trees removed. We needed the roof over the medication garden repaired. I realize that it is a spiritual experience to be sitting in the rain, but coming right through those holes and dripping on you. Anyway, we need that taken care of. We need to replace the privacy fencing on the north side of the property. And we're looking at pressure cleaning and painting the place, tidying up the entire property. Now, that's what's on our list. How much have we gathered so far? $6,621. You people have been very, very supportive. It isn't going to finish the list yet, but we're working on that. I want to tell you what we've done. It's not we're just sitting around. But before I go on, let me point out. Someone has offered that when we're done collecting, she will match whatever is given. So whatever you do give to this fund will get doubled. Okay? So it ain't over till the church is totally repaired. Here we go. What have we done so far? The soundboard. In fact, if you're at home, you probably are aware of this because we lost an entire Sunday because in the transition, weird things went down, which happens every time you make a major transition like that. So in any case, that cost us $3,128, okay, and is now paid for, I believe. Okay. Our tree man made us a great deal on the 3 trees, 2 of which were in the meditation garden, ready to give you a real spiritual experience if you sat underneath them. And that cost $1,000, which, by the way, is a deal. We are at the moment getting estimates on the roof over the meditation garden. We are getting estimates on the fencing, pressure cleaning and painting, and bluntly, because all of these estimates are starting to come in rather high, we are trying to determine what our approach will be. I think the first thing we've got on our thing is that roof over the meditation garden. Our air conditioning man will not even climb up there anymore to work on the air conditioner until we get that repaired. He said so, and then he climbed up anyway and took his life in his hands. But in any case, we're trying to figure out how we're going to handle it. Some of it we may have to end up doing at least part of it ourselves. And so in the future, I may be putting out a call for physical labor. But at the moment, we're getting estimates and trying to figure out exactly how we're going to approach each one of these projects. So it's exciting to finally see some things getting done. And what we'll do is we'll keep you posted as we go along. It's still open. It's still going. Anything you give will be doubled. Okay? We'll leave it at that. Now, I came up here to, what? To talk about God? Yeah. Today the title is The Presence. The Presence. That should have a sacred sound to each and every one of you. If there's anything our path is about, it's about living in the presence. And we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to augment it with essentially the power of daily meditation, a time that we spend strictly in the presence. Let's start by saying you are immersed in the presence of God, and that presence is constantly watching over you, right? Isn't that what we say every week? The prayer of protection, and the presence of God watches over us. That's wonderful to know, but life is constantly distracting us from knowing that. And that's why we need daily meditation, to keep returning to that knowing. Daily meditation is designed to bring us back to sitting in the presence for just a little time, re-energizing ourselves so that we're ready to go out and face the world again and do whatever it is we've got to do. Sitting in the presence of God is subtle. It's that subtle underlying presence in your life and in everything around you. Thus, sitting in the presence or being in the presence is not a doing experience. And that makes it a little bit of a leap for us, because everything we do in this world is about thinking and doing. We are active. And the moment we stop, we're like, what am I going to do next? Do you need to? Couldn't you take just a moment to truly just enjoy being where you are? Just enjoy the being. So when we talk about sitting in the presence, we're talking about being in the presence. Not so much thinking your way in, not so much doing anything, though I'm about to present to you 6 practices for sitting in the presence, which you say, well, isn't that a doing? Yeah, that's the doing that leads you to the doorway. When you let go and move into pure being, that's when you finally gotten there. Being. Are you comfortable with silence? Are you comfortable when the activity stops? Are you comfortable standing in the midst of nature and not doing anything with it, just being there? Are you comfortable sitting at home or in this pew and just being here? I do the words to keep your intellect busy, because it's going to complain if I don't. But it's the moment of being that makes all the difference. Not talking about keeping your intellect busy. The first time, my parents were in Glendale, California, actually La Crescenta. And Dad had the church in La Crescenta. Someone told him there's ashram down the way, and you should go try it out. They have a wonderful meditation period going on, et cetera, et cetera. And he arrived for the first time, he and Mom having no idea what was going to happen. They said, we walked in there and we sat down, and it was silent for a little while. Nobody was doing anything. There was no one up front. There was nothing happening. But I figured, okay, we're just waiting for it to start. 45 minutes later, they figured out this was the main event. Being in the presence. They said, after we knew what was coming, we had a wonderful time. But that first time, our mind's going, where is he? Who's going to talk? What's happening? These people are just sitting around. What's going on here? How long is this going on? Are we there yet? And that's what our minds do. So the first practice is to try to feel the spirit that moves in all of life and within you. Just try to feel what that presence is. That presence is the spirit of life that's moving inside of you. But it's also in everything all around you. It's that's underneath life, you might say. So you do this. You first notice I'm talking about doing. These are the preparatory steps. Withdraw from the action of life in order to be one with life. You literally have to pull your energy back in from thinking. And I'm going to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to face this. This is coming up. And then feel your connection to everything and everyone. If you feel, move into your heart and try to feel. You can begin to feel that you are part of everyone and everything. And beyond that, you then start to feel your connection to God, sensing that presence within. The spirit of life is within me. It hears and shares everything I think and everything I feel. And just becoming aware of that underlying presence. And then the real experience begins. Rest in your experience of oneness. Just remain there a while. In the talk on light, I talked about how I would concentrate on light. First, it was a pinpoint at the center of my being. Then it was a ball. Then it grew bigger. Then it filled my whole body, and I imaged my whole body with light. Then it's out 6 inches, 1 foot, 3 foot in all directions. I'm a glowing being of light. And then it stops. And it's like, what do you do from there? See, till then, I was moving. I was moving my awareness larger and larger. What followed was just being a glowing being of light. And at first that's very hard because we're so addicted to thinking and moving. But when you cross over that threshold and you're just in the presence, it's amazingly powerful. Being in the presence is an escape into a place of peace. It ain't very peaceful in most of our lives. Activity is not the definition of peace. Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. You want to sit in the presence? You've got to let go of activity and be still. You might want to repeat, this is practice number 2, repeat, peace, be still, over and over until you find inner stillness. You can repeat, be still and know that I am God, exactly as it was in the psalm. Or you can even shorten it. And just it's peace. Be still. There are 2 3-word affirmations that were put on the tower of this church building. I know that because I put them there. There was this space, and it looked like there ought to be something in it. And in one, on one side, it says, peace, be still. And that's what we're going to talk about this week. The other side is what we'll talk about next week. Christ in you. To me, possibly the 2 most important 3-word statements that we can make in unity. Peace, be still. Just repeat it over and over until you still all the emotions, all the thought activity. Be still. Peace. Peace, you reach out with your heart and try to encompass this energy of peace. Be still. And you still the outer being. And peace rises out of the stillness. I'm going to take it further and say practice stillness whenever you can during your day. You can take a few moments to be still. Just a few moments to just be still and let go. Years ago, when I was visiting with my brother-in-law at that time, they had a place, their family had a place in upstate New York, nice bed and breakfast. Behind it was all kinds of woods. And he said, you know, there's back there someplace, there's a lake. And there's even beaver on the lake and so forth. And I said, okay. Well, as happens to me occasionally, I got real bored with family. And I headed out. I know it happens to no one else. But anyway, I headed out into the woods. And I made my way back, and I found that lake. And I'm sitting on the lake, and yeah, I can see there's a beaver dam over there, but there's not much of anything around, you know. It's just kind of still and quiet. And I realize, for some reason, I decide I want to climb up in this little tree. It's just big enough to hold me, okay? But I climb up in this little tree, and I sit up on its branch, and I decide, I like being kind of above everything. This is great. I'm going to be still here. And so I'm just very, very still for about 20 minutes. And all of a sudden, While I'm sitting there in stillness, I see this movement in the water, and something comes up the bank right in front of where my tree is, goes sniff, sniff, sniff. Something was here. I smell the blood of a whatever. Anyway, it says somebody's been in my territory, and he follows the smell until he bumps his nose into the tree. Then he looks around and goes, And I am looking right down at this wonderful beaver, through this whole thing, and he finally leaves and goes back and into his house, and I finally make my way home, only got a little lost on the way. And when I get in, I tell everybody, and Ray, my brother-in-law, says, well, I've never actually seen the beaver. You saw the beaver? Yeah. I sat in a tree until it came, and he looked at me like I had 3 heads. But in any case, you sat in a tree? The reason I told the story is if you practice stillness, gifts will come. Things will fall into order. This stillness and the presence, the joy of life, underlies all of life, and stillness exposes you to that joy of life. When you're still, you can experience that joy that rises out of all of life around you and the life within you. Nehemiah 8:10, the joy of the Lord shall be your strength. This one sounds counterintuitive. We think it should have been the power of the Lord will be your strength. But the joy of the Lord will be your strength. And you can feel the joy of the Lord wherever you are, in everything around you. So in stillness, explore feeling the joy of the Lord, the joy that is latent in life, all around you, in everything. And I've got several suggestions under this category, but we're going to start practice 3 with find the joy of life in your body. You move out of thinking and doing, and you move out of your mind by feeling the joy of being in your body. We're real good at feeling the pain. Can you feel the joy? Start with the sensation on your skin. Just the sensation of being in this world. Move into your breath. There's a joy to breathing, to that continuous rhythm. If you can become very still, you'll begin to hear your heartbeat. And feel the joy of the Lord pulsing through your heartbeat. And then you can imagine feeling the flow of blood and that rush of life through you. It starts off as a flow of blood, and then it simply becomes the flow of life through your body. And there's a joy that rises out of all of it. And finally, remember that last step is rest in, stay there, be there, feel well-being in your body for an extended period of time. You say, yeah, well, actually, my body right now has a few aches and pains, or is sick, or is this or that. I know. But underneath the pain, underneath the illness, underneath what feels like the fragileness of your body, if you reach underneath it, there still is that feeling of well-being and a joy that rises out of that feeling of well-being. When you touch it, just stay there a while. What do I do with it? Nothing. Just be there. The fourth practice is to move into the world all around you to feel the joy of life. Feel the joy of life all around you by dwelling on the beauty of nature and feeling the joy that rises out of seeing that beauty. When you perceive how beautiful nature is all around you, you'll feel the joy rising. You've touched the joy of the Lord. A lot of us do this. Just make sure you do it regularly. And the fifth level of joy is to contemplate. In other words, the fifth practice is to contemplate God's presence within you and feel the joy that rises out of knowing that presence within you and all around you. I live, I move, I have my being within a sea of God life. But it isn't just a sea that's around me. The sea within me is even larger than the sea around me. And when you can contemplate that, you can feel the joy of life rising in you. Just be in the sea of joyous life for a short time. Well, what about my life? What about dealing with the things that are in my life? The important thing is those few moments you spend in the presence. This joy of life literally strengthens you. It literally strengthens you. Makes you stronger. So you can face life. Okay, last Sunday I was not here. We were celebrating Patty's birthday over on the beach. Luckily, one of Patty's brothers and his family have just bought a condo over on the beach. Now, it faces the river. It's the backside, but it's on the beach. Okay. And they offered it to us for free. You don't turn that down. So we went over and had a wonderful time. Even though it rained for the first 3 of the 4 days we were there, we had a wonderful time. It would rain on and then not. My experience started the one night, a day or two there, and I decided I hadn't been to the beach and I wanted to go out at night. Patty was already falling asleep, so I went out by myself. Here we are between 10 and 11. Between 10 and 11 at night. And it's really dark out there because it's also a stormy night. And it's perfect for me. You go out, there were a number of cones because the traffic stopped right there. And I placed myself as the fourth cone so that anyone walking by wouldn't notice me and I could say boo. But I was out there about an hour. Spent my time looking out at the infinity of the sea that was before me. Now, there's nothing to see. There's not enough light to see anything. I guess you can see the waves, the white caps a little bit as they come in. But you're looking out and feeling the vastness. And for me, that's experiencing God. I took time when I was out there, and at one point I surfaced enough to pray. Now, prayer is a real surface experience of this. In the depth, you aren't asking for anything. But when I surfaced a little bit, I thought, God, you have got to show me you're still with me. There's some weird stuff going on in my life. I'm having trouble with a few things. Come on, At least make some of my investments work appropriately. But I kind of said that and passed on and no, I didn't pass on, but I passed beyond that. And then I went on and I thought, okay, I just reached out and just experienced the glory of those amazingly contemptuous waves that were out there in front of me under all those storm clouds that kept everything really dark. And I just sat there. The nothingness is amazingly wonderful. Because within it is the latent presence. And I came in and I thought, why didn't I do that the first night? I'm definitely going to do it again. Okay. But I knew the next night we had a special thing planned. So, okay, but that was great. We're going to do it again. And next time I took Patty out with me. Okay, so I came in and went, I had a vacation away from the world. I had a vacation in the presence. Next morning I got up and we're going around and doing a number of different things through the day, and I felt good. I felt wonderful. I said, this is great. You always feel stronger after you've had your moment alone. We were supposed to go out for a bioluminescent kayak tour that night, okay? And so here we are in the afternoon. We're going to go out for the sunset tour. There was no sunset that night. But there was a manatee and an alligator, so we did fine. In either case, we're getting prepared to go on this trip. And Patty says to me, she says, we should probably check the email, see if there were any last-minute instructions. We were trying to decide whether it was going to happen at all, because in the middle of lightning, they canceled the thing, okay? And storms were coming and going. Well, it turned out, in the end, it turned out really nice. But I said, okay, so we took a nap, we got up, we were getting everything together. I said, she says, I'll check. She says, my computer won't work. I said, mine will, no problem. Let's get on mine and we can go into your email through my email because we've done that before. So let's do that. And we got on, I pulled up my email, and I look, and I see this thing from Ameritrade saying, you have to do something today. You have an expiring option, And I'm thinking, yeah, I know. It's expiring worthless, so I won't really have to do anything about it. But in any case, why are you hitting me the second time? We went ahead and figured there was no information on the upcoming trip. And then it occurred to me, I haven't looked today. Let me just go back and check. Now, this is a few minutes before 4 o'clock, and the market closes at 4. The day before, I had a FedEx put. That means I was expecting it to be below a certain amount. The advisement newsletter that I had, it said, come on, FedEx has been going down. Let's go ahead and just bet on it continuing to go down. And right after that, the board of directors decided they were going to lift things by telling everybody that there's going to be a huge dividend. So it took this upward trajectory, and this that we bought was, totally worthless. You cannot sell something that no one wants. And the day before, no one wanted it. It was worth 0. But if you've been listening to the news, you know that Friday, FedEx went down 25%. Never happens. They made another announcement. But in any case, now, what you need to understand is I was playing a little bit of money with options. And the beauty of an option and the curse of an option is that if it expires and you're in the money, and you haven't sold it yet. You are responsible to buy all these many shares that you have an option on, and that's a lot of money. And if it's not in your account, you are in big trouble. So when I look, what was worthless the day before is worth $3,000 today. Now, I had some money in it, so it was, I don't know. I made an $860 profit. But I was about to be in big trouble. And after I got over the shock, I managed to marshal my forces enough to hit the right buttons to sell what I had 2 minutes before the bell. Yes, before the close. And I sat there and thought, God, do you know what you had to pull together to make me do that? I wasn't even going to check it today because it was worthless and far away from being worth anything. But he had to pull. Patty's saying we have to check on the trip, her computer not working, so that we had to go through my computer. I had to go through my email. I happened to see the thing for Ameritrade. Now, I knew it shouldn't have mattered, but I came back and checked anyway. And then, oh my God. To me, the most important thing of that was that I was not in big trouble. The fact I made a little small profit is not a big deal. I was much more worried about having blown the entire thing. And I credited it up to the time I spent in the presence the night before. As far as I'm concerned, that's the reason I was still connected enough to get enough of the cues to wake up and see. You thought, well, that's one thing. Well, yeah, we went on that bioluminescent tour, which, by the way, was spectacular. It was wonderful. And on the way home, I'm really wanting to get home, I guess, because I go over the bridge into Titusville. And I'm a couple of lights in when I realize that there are red and blue lights behind me. And they pull me over, and I didn't know it, but she claims I was, quote, flying as I went over that bridge. Okay. And she gave me a verbal warning. I went, boy, I'm going out on the beach as soon as I can again. I need this. I need the presence in my court. Why do you sit in the presence? So you can face life and do well. And not screw it up. And that leads us to the last area. When facing the drama of life, take refuge in the presence. From the drama. The drama can just tear you up. Take refuge away from the drama in the presence, in the infinity of being, versus the drama of an individual doing individual life. We're all doing individual life, but you also are a soul. And its realm is being. And you can take refuge there. There's an old Unity adage that goes, when you don't have time to meditate, you don't have time not to meditate. You need things to flow. So practice number 6. Let go of your obsession with the drama and reach into the stillness of God's presence for a time. Then return to handling your drama. In the stillness, touch the vastness of the greater life that your soul is a part of. Touch the peace that is beyond all your worries and your fears. And eventually, you will feel the smallness in the greater scheme of things, of what you face in the outer. It won't be as overwhelming. And you can handle it. In fact, it's almost like you take that, what was it? Felix Felice potion in Harry Potter. The stuff that makes you lucky, makes you very lucky. Well, going into the presence puts you in tune. It's like taking that potion. And now when you go out, everything's going to come together to show you that you're about to be in big trouble, and you're going to sell 2 minutes before the closing bell. Or the cop's going to stop you and say, you've been really naughty, and I'm going to give you a verbal warning. Amazing. That's the type of thing that happens when you spend time in the presence. A moment of escape from the drama, a moment of finding refuge in the joy of the Lord, in that vast realm of being, will give you the strength you need to come back and face the threats that we all have to deal with in this outer world. So let's go into meditation for a moment and do that. Take a deep breath and sigh it out. Peace. Be still. Peace. There's a wonderful feel to that. Joy rises out of peace. And love rises out of joy. Still and know that I am God. In the stillness, feel the presence that is within you. It is right there with you. Feel the life underneath everything else in your body, that spirit or joy of life. Feel the joy of the feeling in your skin, the air on your skin. Feel the joy of breath, the simple joy of breathing. Feel how your breath is your instrument, creating its rhythm, joining the symphony of life. And as you become very still, you can feel the heartbeat in your chest, the flow of blood through your arteries and your veins. And you move on to feeling something more esoteric, the flow of life through your body. And in spite of any aches and pains and body issues, feel the well-being underneath it all. Well-being, the joy of life in the body. Reach out beyond body and feel spirit moving through all life around you. That spirit of life is underneath everything. Sense the beauty of this world, of nature. Feel the joy that rises from knowing how beautiful it is. And feel your own sense of oneness with everything. Oneness with everyone. Oneness with God. Realize God's presence within you, right there within you. And feel the joy that rises out of knowing that presence is within you and all around you. I am immersed in the presence of God, the joy of life, the joy of the Lord. And for a moment, just be in that presence. Father, for thy presence ever with me, watching over me. Each of us, are forever grateful. Thank you, God. Amen. The usher will come forward. We'll prepare for our offering. For those of you online, your gifts are extremely important to us. Here's how you give them. You go to the home page at the end of service. You hit the Donate Now button, and you can use PayPal or a credit card. You can pull our address off and send us a check. Or if it's easier for you, you can call the office and arrange for regular offerings. Thank you for your offerings, you who are here and you at home. It's what keeps our head above water. That's why we're still here. Let's affirm together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. Thank you, God. Amen. Take it away, Brian.
Thank you, Reverend Bob, and I really enjoyed the story about you climbing up into a tree and waiting for that beaver to come. I used to do that all the time. I was raised in a huge woods in the back that my dad had gotten for us when I was a kid. And I'd go up in a tree, and I'd try to see like what it felt like to be that tree, of course, you know, and I'd get into the silence, and I draw on that now. When I sit and I wait for a song to come, I hear the rhythm and then the chords and the melody. And I come up with a song like this one called In the Presence. In the still of a journey, in the silence on the path, there's a quaking in my heart with a love that will last. We give thanks and rejoice in the loving that starts in the presence of the presence that we all are a part. And we still feel connected when we may not be near. There's a truth within the ages that can drop all your fears. We give thanks and rejoice in the loving that starts in the presence of a presence that we all are a part. There's an awakening happening and drawing us near to the truth of an existence and why that we're here. We give thanks and rejoice in the loving that starts in the presence of a presence that we all are a part. We give thanks and rejoice in the loving that starts in the presence of a presence that we all are a part. We give thanks and rejoice in the loving that starts in the presence of a presence that we all are a part.
That was wonderful. I believe you captured it. Thank you for ending the service on that one. Once again, everyone repeat with me, nature is my friend. Nature is my friend. Be safe this week. Wherever nature thinks its winds will land. In any case, thank you, whether you're watching at home or here in person, for being Unity Orlando. Next Sunday, I will be speaking on After the Ship Has Sailed. We've all heard that comment, that ship has sailed. After the ship has sailed. Well, I'm subtitling it, Living in a World That Has Changed on You. Am I the only one who can relate to that idea? I don't think so. Hope you'll be here next week. Let's all rise and let's close by radiating into the world the prayer of protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. God bless you all. Have a wonderful week. And for the rest of us, let's sing.